Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
This is the Legends 34 Sports Podcast with your hosts, k-rino and DJ Reddick.
Legends 34 Sports Podcast. I guess we're at episode 7. We're going to do it Zoom. Had some scheduling conflicts this week, but hey, we'll just make it good as any, right? K-Rino, what you think?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We're going to make it do what it do. I don't care if we record on the moon. We're going to still get y'all this info.
Well, tonight we got a hot NBA play. Got OKC in Dallas tonight. What's your outlook on this series here? They too young still? You think the Thunder too young?
Nah, they're not too young. You got to understand, they were the number 1 seed in the West. They have the second youngest team in the whole NBA. I think the Rockets might not even be the youngest team no more because adding Jeff Green and Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks may have leveled that off. But OKC is the second youngest team in the league, but the talent is there, the coaching is there. They got a young leader who a lot of people are saying should have won MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And
he was in the ballot. I think third in voting or fourth. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, the problem is that every year they change the rules. Every year they say, well, it's for the best player on the best team and guys with the best record. They got the best record in the West. And this guy averaging 30-some points a game, so it's like they changed. It's like they changed in the rules. They gave it to Joker for the third time, and he's deserving too. But it looks like Joker, and they might be on the way out. The way Minnesota is looking, actually gave Anthony Edwards a few of those votes. But Cleveland just blew out Boston in Boston.
Oh man! I
mean, it wasn't even close. So to get a win like that on the road, even though we saw Miami do the same thing in the last series in Game 2, so Boston, they always capable of bouncing back. But it was Donovan Mitchell, man, he going under the radar as far as being explosive as he is in the leadership that he's providing for this young Cleveland team.
Right. Well, a lot of good veterans on that team. I'm happy for him. Who knows? He would have wasted away with the Jazz, and I'm proud of saying that because I hate the Jazz. But he got out of there, man, and now he's in the playoffs with a bunch of really good players, man, young and older players, man.
Yeah, they might
take them 7 games.
They got a good mix. Like I saw Tristan Thompson out there. I saw one of the Morris twins out there. So they got a good mix of veterans and young people, man. But yeah, I mean, I still think Boston's coming out the East. But like I said, I saw them do the same thing in round 1, give away Game 2 with a hot shooting. It's like you almost got to shoot lights out to beat these dudes. But playoffs been interesting. But the second round is bothering me because been a lot of outside the Indiana-New York series. It's been a lot of blowouts. The Indiana-New York series, both games went down to the wire. So I'm tired of these blowouts, man, for real.
I'm glad you talk about the Indiana Knicks series because, I mean, there's a lot of magic happening with the Knicks and all, but I don't know, man. Now, Anunoby, I'm sorry if I...
Yeah, Anunoby, he's out. He's out
for this next game. Who knows how many, but, man, they're getting thin over there in the front court, man, let alone Randall's not there, so...
Yeah.
I don't know, man, how much magic they got left.
Well, it depends because Jalen Brunson got hurt that last game too, and he's questionable. So by him being questionable, he the head of the snake. If Jalen Brunson don't play, then they dead. They done. You could win without Julius Randle. You could possibly hang on without Anunoby, even though what he does is intangible, the defense and the hustle and all that. But if they lose Jalen Brunson for a game or two, it's a wrap. They're not going to win without Jalen Brunson. So, and then even with Jalen Brunson, they've been getting some questionable calls, man. They've been getting some cooking, which, like I said, I'm all in favor of home calls when I'm at home. But they ain't been running away from Indiana. These games been close.
So bad. Carlisle petitioned the NBA, right? For 96 calls.
He made a complaint, but the thing is, our coaches do. I remember Phil Jackson and Pat Riley and all those guys. They try to set up for the next game. They try to put the little bid in for the next game, so they make their little complaints. And Van Gundy used to do it. All the coaches have done it. But I'm predicting. I feel like the Knicks gonna get blown out in Game 3 because when Indiana get home and that crowd and they're running and gunning offense and all that. I'm just making a wild prediction. I think that Indiana's gonna blow them out in Game 3.
I think they're due for it, man. Again, I just feel like they're running on this the secret juice, man. We don't know about it. How they got this far? That's what I'm saying. I know Brunson's play has been incredible, but
he different, man. You this guy getting 35, 40 points like it's nothing at barely 6 feet tall. So, Becky Hammond made a comment about him not being able to get it done because he was a little guy and all this, and like, dude, Becky Hammond in the Hall of Fame, man. She's a Hall of Fame player, Olympian, world champion coach. She should have knew better to try to assume that because the guy is short, he's too little, that he can't be a franchise impact player. All you got to do is go back a few years to Allen Iverson. You go back to guys like Isaiah Thomas. It ain't got nothing. I've seen too many 6'10", 7 feet guys that was trash, that was boo-boo. So if you can hoop, you can hoop.
Yeah, make a point that the way he's getting his points, right? 15-foot turnarounds, 18-foot turnarounds, fadeaways. I mean, he's earning it in there, just not hoisting up threes and trying to get to the rack every time. This guy's crafty. He's got a whole bag of skills.
He got a bag, and he's a little fire hydrant.
Yes.
He drive in and he hits you with that thing. And no matter how big you are, you're gonna bounce off of him, and then he gets his balance and gets his shot off. So he's, like you say, he's a crafty scorer. You're not gonna stop a guy like that. He knows how to get to the line, draw fouls. So they know now you got to respect that dude. They got to respect that dude. But Halliburton got to step up too. It's like, dude, you're not. He had a great game last night, but Game 1, the dude only had 6 points. And I always get mad at people like that because he's one of those players who always kill the Rockets. He's a rocket killer. So anytime you got a player that goes off when they play against my team, when I see them play against another team and they play like trash, I be mad. They're like, dude, don't be trash now.
Right.
You killed us. Don't be trash now.
Well, I think you said the key word of the day. You said fire plug. That's going to segue perfect into this news story that we were covering about Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to share the screen here. You can see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA suspends Bucks for 4 games for this incident. And the question is, will he be with the Bucks next year, or will he be with another team? And if he with another team, are they going to invest in that 4-game suspension? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look,
or is he gone?
It don't matter where he land. He got to do 4 games. That's not my issue. I'm amazed that he only got 4 games for that. That's the part I'm shocked. Dude, you threw a basketball into the stands and
twice
and hotlined the lady in the face, asked for the ball back, and then rocketed the ball back into the stands to hit your original target. 4 games was like a blessing, you know what I'm saying, for him to get 4 games. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of possible lawsuits from the people that he threw the ball at, because that got to be coming. Because, everybody is saying the same thing. The lady is gonna sue, and the guy may sue too, just off intent. I don't know, but you gotta understand, they could. I'm not a legal expert, but I play one on TV. They could possibly sue the league. They could possibly sue the NBA because you gotta think you come to those games under the umbrella, okay, that we're in a safe environment. You know what I'm saying? And then something happens. If you go to the freaking Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey circus and one of the lions get away and bite you on the leg,
Right.
you suing the circus. You suing that whole entity. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sue Patrick Beverly personally and they go after the league, because all of a sudden she's going to magically have concussions and memory loss and, all this stuff here. But that shocked me that he only got, I was telling people 40, 50 because it was a fan, so I was shocked, man.
Not only that was his first time, again, with, incidents with the NBA and whatnot. But like we pointed out last episode, those have been mainly on the court. Here, this is something completely different. But
the brawl in the palace, man.
Right.
Now, granted, they in the crowd, they in the crowd whooping, but that's still considered like an assault. You know what I'm saying? But you use the basketball. That's like if Altuve ran in the stands with his bat.
Right.
Off a pitcher throws a baseball into the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Even though baseball would be a lot more deadly, but it's in that same realm. It's like you use one of your tools of your occupation as a weapon. So, hey man, I like Pat Beverly. Matter of fact, I love Pat Beverly, but I'm surprised that's all he got was a little folk piece.
Right. Come back to the Rockets. Teach these young kids how to stay in front of somebody, man.
Yeah, let me see.
That 4-game suspension.
Yeah. I mean, but and I don't know his contract situation. I don't know if he was under contract with them for another year or two. I don't know, but he's been on probably at least three teams the last 3 years. Because I know he was with them this year with Philly. The last year before that, and may have been with another team before that. So he's at that point in his career where you start to see a lot of players, role players in particular, bouncing around from team to team, which usually means you're on your way out.
Chris Paul, anybody? Chris Paul?
Yeah, and see, you're either on your way out because you're just on your way out, or you're ring chasing. Like, James Harden been on 14 to 4 years, but he's ring chasing. So that's a different scenario. But when you talk about a role player, it's like I said this last time, dude. You can't play. You're not as locked in as you may think you are. You better hang on, bro. You better get your little bread. Get your money. Hold on to that bread, man, and don't do nothing. Don't crash out like that. Come on, man. Come on, P.
Well, we'll see, man. After those 4 games are served, who he'll be with, or maybe he'll stay with the Bucks. I like to see him stay with the Bucks.
I don't even care.
Right.
I don't care.
Giannis is healthy next year. Let's see what maybe make a run at it.
Yeah, no doubt. He can fit in anywhere, though.
Right. He adapts. And this other story here, I'm gonna share my screen here. Glenn Big Baby Davis, had you seen this?
I saw it yesterday. I saw
a fraud scheme.
The headline. I didn't know what had happened. This is I heard about him being in some trouble a while back, but I never looked into the story.
Evidently, they were trying to scheme or defraud the league's health care benefits plan. But what's of notoriety is the ringleader was Terrance Williams, which Rockets fans, that sounds familiar. He played a couple years with us. And he ended up doing 10 years in federal prison. And it's I love to shine the light on athletes and, positive things. But then there's stories like this that unfortunately are negative. But I do remember Terrance Williams vaguely, but that's a pretty strong sentence, man. 10 years. And Big Baby Davis, who won a championship with the Celtics, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
he's going to do some few years over this incident.
Yeah, it's
But,
looking like he may get about, say, 40 months, so that's about close to 3.5. And see, but this goes back to what I just said about Pat Beverly when I talk about don't play with your money like that, because athletes in general, on average, whether it's NFL, NBA, the average career is like 3 to 5 years, somewhere up in that range. Just the average career, when you lay it out. So the thing is, even guys who have played 10, 12, 13 years, you still see a lot of those guys end up financially messed up. They don't have no money because you're retiring at 31, 35, if you're lucky. And that's very young. That's very young. See, the average person retired at 65. You're an athlete, you're retiring at 35, 36 years old, and you live in this lifestyle while you're playing in the league, and you're not being smart with your money. So clearly, for them to even participate, for even orchestrate and participate in a scheme like this, means that your money ain't right. You're not gonna do this. LeBron ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Steph Curry is not going to get involved in some kind of fraud scheme to try to generate revenue for it, because they don't have to. So if you're doing that, that means that at some point there was a mismanagement and a mishandling of your own finances, right? And by you mishandling your own finances, now you're out the league and you've made millions of dollars. 'Cause I know Glenn Davis. Now, Terrance Williams, he didn't play long. And me and my dad, we used to love Terrance Williams because he was athletic. He had all the tools. He reminded me,
man.
Yeah, he reminded me of a similar to Cam Whitmore now.
Right, or Bonzi Wells. You remember Bonzi Wells?
Yeah. A little solid guard, but had all the tools. I remember when we had Terrance Williams, and we was like, man, because Terrance Williams, I think he was drafted by Sacramento, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so.
But whatever happened was we got him in a trade. But I was like, nah, this dude could be that dude. And he wouldn't get in the minutes for whatever. They sent him down to the G League. It was the D League at the time. Right. And the dude was getting 30-something a game in the D League because he was just that talented. So, but his career didn't last long for whatever reason. But dude, Glenn Davis made decent money in the league.
Oh, bro. Yeah.
He was a rookie in 2008. He was a rookie. Him and Rondo came, I think they came in around the same time. So either 2007, 2008, or 2008, that was his rookie year. My point is
he was
that
doing commercials, man.
Yeah.
Not mistaken, like Super Bowl commercials. I might be stretching it, but man, he had it going there for a minute when he was with the Celtics in the limelight, man.
We could look up his salaries, in the contracts. Now, of course, it's not like it is now, but I'm sure he received a few of those 4-year, $18 million. Some of them 3-year, $21 million. I'm sure he may have got some of those kind of deals to where it's no way that from 2008 to 20, whenever he retired, because he's been out of the league probably 4 or 5 years now. You talking in a maybe 11-year span. You shouldn't be broke. You shouldn't be having to participate in these types of scams and make money. Take care of your bread, man. Take care of your bread. You can't hang out with the big boys and try to spend like KG and them was spending and Paul Pierce because you're not in that bracket. So it's unfortunate. It's a shame. And, because they always catch these guys, man. You can't do stuff like that. It's too many paper trails. It's too many other parts involved, people talking. It's too much on the way you're not going to be able to pull that out. I don't care how good the person who put it together made it sound. You got to be wiser than that, man. You got to be wiser than that.
Well, I want to share this other thing here with you. Back to the screen. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this earlier. Shaquille O'Neal proposes to change the NBA voting process for the MVP. He thinks it should be 50 Hall of Famers and 50 ex-players. You think about this?
Hey man, that ain't a bad. Look, I'm I was never really a fan of the sports writers voting for that type of stuff. Even all the way up to just who gets in the hall, It's always the sports writers and certain tenured journalists, right? This, guys have been in it for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And the problem is those guys, sometimes they have personal problems with certain players over the year. They didn't like a certain guy. This guy wasn't friendly in the press conferences and all that. But yeah, when it comes to that, when it comes to MVP and all that, I can look with my naked eye and say, okay, well, yeah, I think this guy, but it may be an agenda involved. Nobody is better qualified to tell you who was that dude other than the dudes that's facing the dudes every night. So, yeah, let it be current players. And it, like I say, it could be the top guys or, guys who play a lot of minutes, guys who actually got to face the dude. Current players, yeah, and Hall of Famers. I agree with that. Now, the only problem that might come along when you say the Hall of Famers, we don't know how often they watching the games. You know what I'm saying? Right. How often is George Gervin at home, or how often is, who you think of at
Dominic
home?
Wilkins.
Dominic. I'll say with Dominic.
Oh, he's a broadcaster. That's right.
So Dominic, Clyde Frazier, Calvin Murphy. Okay, cool. That's cool because they are still boots on the ground in the current NBA. But we don't know what Billy Cunningham is doing. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he's doing at home if he's watching the game. But now we know Dennis Rodman ain't at home watching no NBA game. Right. So the 50 Hall of Famer thing might be a little shaky. But if we say 50 ex-players who are now in media, okay, cool. Let's roll with that. Let's Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, Richard Jefferson, guys like that. Cool. Let it ride. Let it ride. Because I don't like the sports writers be favoritism and all that crap.
Well, this is a good segue into football, which, if the camera is now focused on me, I want to show you this new shirt I found.
Oh, man.
I have to get one for you. It just needs legends at the bottom, but it has Houston.
Hey, you ain't lying. We might could make one. But, I was rich because, you blessed my game, so.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was ready.
It gives us a great excuse to wear all these sports shirts, right?
No question about it.
But here, I'm going to share this, the Texans schedule here.
Yeah. Yeah, let's look at that because they say, okay, we got a first.
We're going to open up a preseason. I guess only for one preseason game this year.
Yeah, forget preseason. Let's go to let's get to
we're going to play. It's a tough schedule. We got Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to get Bills, Bears.
Detroit. Oh, it's gangster. Yeah, it's
Cowboys this year. Oh, boy. Where's KO, right? You got to get some loud Cowboy fans jumping out the stands here.
Oh, yeah. This schedule here is gangster.
Then the Colts, of course. Jaguars, of course. Chiefs, we're going to play. Vikings, Patriots, Jets, Titans, Colts again. Jaguar, Miami towards the end of the season, and the Titans always
it's tough.
The division.
That's tough. Well, I'm gonna say this. This is the deal. That's a first place schedule. That's your reward for winning your division,
right?
Making it to the playoffs and actually winning the playoff game. So now you no longer are looked at as just some little weak team that's insignificant. You on the radar now. So all those teams, the Baltimore, the Kansas Cities, the Miamis, even Dallas, you got a top schedule coming. Detroit was no joke last year. But here's the thing with the Texans. We are still in a very winnable division, a division that could be dominated by the Texans if they do right, meaning that just say the Texans go 5-2 Let me see. You play against those teams. You got 6 games in your division, so that's 6. Just say they go 4-2 or 5-1 in the division.
I'll put it back up on the screen.
Yeah. So you go 4-2 or 5-1 in a division, then okay, that takes care of your house. Then you have to upset at least 2 of those top tier teams that nobody's gonna pick you at Kansas City. You know, they may not get picked at home against Detroit or at home against Baltimore. You know, so you got Baltimore, Buffalo, Detroit, Kansas City, at Dallas. That's 5.
At Dallas, oh boy.
Okay. Minnesota is decent, and then you got Miami late on down the line. So you're talking 17. Now, if you look at the Jets, you got Aaron Rodgers possibly coming back, right?
Right.
So that's 18 that will be looked at as like a threat to you coming into next year. You got to get 5 of those. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you get 4 of them, if you go 4-4, and then you win, you go 4-2 in your division, you 8-6, and now you got 3 more games left where you can get to that 10-11 win mark, where you got to beat the New Englands, you got to beat the Green Bays, you got to beat the Chicagos. It ain't many givens on the schedule, but they could still win 10 or 11 games this year. But against those 8 I named, you better go 500 minimum against.
Right. No, I'm curious how many we're gonna get on TV. Meaning, maybe a Monday night or a Sunday night, or one of the more premier games, or how many we'll get this season because of all the hype surrounding the team. I hope so.
They should know. They should get some now. See, because CJ, CJ is
Right.
see now. He must see now. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Stephon Diggs, you got Mixon. So I can see it. I can see them getting a lot of prime time game. They should be on Monday night once or twice this year. I'm certain that they're gonna be put on Monday night, or nowadays you got Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. So they'll land on some of those prime time games this season.
And also, I'm hearing whispers, if you will, in the wind. A comeback for JJ Watt.
Man, JJ Watt needs to stay.
What?
He needs to stay.
He says he'd be locked and loaded and ready.
I'm sure he would. Look, bro, at the end of the day, I was having this conversation with one of the homies the other day. Look, JJ Watt, great player, future Hall of Fame, one of the greatest Texans ever. But when he retired, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
I believe it was with the Cardinals.
You retire for a reason, bro. And football is a kind of sport. You're not gonna come back 2 or 3 years later and be better than when you retired. Now, I'm in my mind, I'm like, dude, you trying to come back because you see this team as a potential contender. You trying to sneak in and get you a ring? The only way that I would be in favor, not favor, the only way I would be accepting of a JJ Watt comeback and say, okay, well, yeah, we checked him out. He's in good shape, but he's only gonna play situational, a down here, a down there. We'll put him in on a 3rd down, on a 1st down. Not no every down dude like he used to be, And
Right.
if he proves to be better than at his position than any of the guys we got, that would be an anomaly. But man, JJ, just chill, bro. I'm not. That's the same mindset I had when they was rumoring that Harden was gonna come back to the Rockets. And they're like, nah, that ship done sailed already. It's done sailed,
It is intriguing. Who knows? Maybe come back as honorary punter or something.
It's good media. It make for a good story, but and trust me, I know JJ probably keep himself in great shape. I'm certain that he do. But at the end of the day, man, this still football, and you wasn't tearing the league up 3 years ago when you retired. So it just would be hard for me. You can let your body rejuvenate. I get all that, but maybe a down here and there, cool, but not no every down guy.
Wow.
How old is JJ now? 30 what?
33, 34 maybe?
That young?
I'm guessing. maybe. Who knows?
If he's 33, 34, I gotta see how old he is. If he's that young, then maybe, but still not every down though. Still not every. I was thinking he was 35, 36. I thought he was on the close side to 40. But I don't know.
I was born in '89.
Okay, so he's at least 35. If he had a birthday already, he's 35. If not, then he's 34. About to be he'll be 35 this year. So by the time the season gets going, he'll be 35. See, that's up there, for any player, but defensive guy, that much wear and tear on your body, man. Just chill, bro. Just chill.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think Zoom has some type of time capacity. They flashed 10 minutes. I don't know. 5 minutes ago. So I do want to end up with a story. You said JJ Reddick brought up about the change in the league, and the league's soft now, or it used to be.
Yeah,
I want to hear this.
He got this thing where he always cracks on the past era, especially the era of Michael Jordan. And I'm like, dude, how you gonna say that Michael Jordan played in a weak era? And he used the term. He did it back in old. He took it way back with Cousy, talking about he played against plumbers and firemen and all that. Now they trying to bring the plumbers up to the 80s and 90s and say that's who Jordan played against. But dude, Jordan was playing against athletes like Dominique Wilkins and Clyde Drexler and Orlando Woolridge, and just tough physical guys, man, that could really play basketball, that could really hoop, that could defend, that could lock down. Big centers, dominant centers that guarded the paint and knocked you on your butt, all this different stuff. So for JJ to talk like Michael Jordan wasn't playing against any competition, it shows how young he is. But also my question to him would be, okay, you always calling the players from the past era plumbers. What kind of player would you have been if you played in the 90s? What kind of player was he when he did play? He was a career bench guy that, maybe got you 10, 11 points a game. So, it's kind of weird to hear a role player talking that talk. But that's just my little version of Rex rant.
All right, we're going to pick up where we left off. Look like because of Zoom time limit or constraints, we were cut off abruptly. But we're just going to pick up where we left off. And we were talking about the changing of the landscape of the NBA. And I was really about to go in, but I want you to... You've had some times in this little break we had about cementing your point about the different eras.
Yeah, man. Just in particular, man, we got this division now where the younger generation is making these claims that the past generation of hoops, like maybe from 80s, 90s on up, wasn't real competition. Like it was trash, and we done with the 90s and all this old extra talk, man. And I never thought I would ever see a day where people would be looking at Michael Jordan like he was regular, and that's what we see. A lot of these cats that on these YouTube channels, and even some of the people on the nationally televised sports shows, people like JJ Reddick and guys like that, they are making claims as if Michael Jordan in the era that he played in was weak, that he had this incredible advantage over the competition that he played against. Now, let's be real. He was the most dominant guy of the era, but somebody got to be the most dominant guy in any era that you play against. But JJ Reddick made a comment a while back he was talking about Bob Cousy that played in the 50s and 60s and was saying he was playing against plumbers and firemen. Then he turned around now, they're trying to apply that narrative to the era of Michael Jordan. Let me give you a list of the people that Michael Jordan played against during his time in the NBA, from the beginning all the way to even with the Wizards. And there's just a few people, I can't list them all. These were his competition in contemporary. You got Clyde Drexler. You got Dominique Wilkins, super athlete. Athletic in any era, right? Just those two right there. You got Reggie Miller. Now keep in mind, everybody I'm naming so far is in the Hall of Fame. Mitch Richmond. You remember Mitch Richmond now?
Oh, yeah, man. Come on.
Tough Mitch Richmond was. Kobe. Because Michael Jordan was older, Kobe was on the way in, but they matched up. He played against Kobe. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, Spreewell, Ray Allen, Gary Payton. These just a few names that just came to me. Everybody I'm naming, with the exception of maybe Penny Hardaway, who because of the injuries, all these cats is in the Hall of Fame, bro. Every last one of them. And who's more athletic than Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and Clyde Drexler and Dominique Wilkins? Who's more athletic than these guys? So this is the kind of competition Michael Jordan is matching up against every night. Not to mention solid guys like Dumars, and who he said was the toughest guy that ever guarded him at one point. Guys like Starks, that gave him trouble. Vernon Maxwell, that made him work. Dude,
Jordan said at one time, Mookie Blaylock gave him hell.
Yeah, because when you see,
most people listen to the broadcast, who the hell is Mookie Blaylock?
one of the most solid, tough defensive point guards to play in the league.
Right.
But see, what people don't know who don't play basketball, and people always look at height. It's tough for a taller guy a lot of times to get his moves off and beat a smaller guy who can move his feet, or even post a smaller guy, because a smaller guy has a low center of gravity. So a lot of times you don't always have the balance and the leverage unless you're just super strong and super talented like that, where you're athletic, where Jordan can just rise up and shoot. So a guy like a Mookie Blaylock, who might have been 6'2", 6'3", like you said, even a guy like Peyton, who was 6'4", but he knew angles and he knew how to position himself on defense and make you play to your weaknesses, and you could hand check back in those days. You could actually control your guy a little easier because you could put your hand on him and he is just not where you can just blow by you like that. So I think that there's a narrative circulating, and I think it's a conspiracy going on by LeBron James fans and LeBron James co-conspirators that are trying to just bolster the argument more for LeBron to be above Jordan by saying that Jordan's era was weak and all this different. LeBron had to play against tougher competition. That's just not true at all, man. Because to belittle these guys, that the guys I named on that list that are 99% Hall of Famers, except maybe one guy, those guys could have played in today's era, and the guys I named would have been better if they played today. What would Dominique be averaging today?
Right.
What would Grant Hill be doing today? Come on, man. Come on. What would Reggie Miller be doing today in a league where teams shooting 35, 43s compared to maybe shooting 15?
That's where I was just about to go in.
Yeah.
Because we've done 6 of these already, and I'm always complaining we're moving everybody out past the 3-point line. And I watch the playback and I see myself saying that. I'm like, how accurate am I? So I went and looked. Right. 40 to 50% of a team's offense is 23'9".
Yeah.
As compared to not even 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the era we're talking about, right? Jordan's era. 3-point line was, there's some teams I looked on average took 9 3-pointers a game. This is like in 1995.
Go back further than that.
9 attempts on average a night.
Go back further than that.
We're talking about 1/10 of the offense was that far out. I mean, how the hell do you just ignore this? This is a completely different game. You're not inside. You're not banging. You're not shooting 15, 18-foot shots. You're not trying to go off the glass. You're not trying to dunk. You're trying to shoot as far away from the defense as you can. How the hell do you not take accountability for that?
Check this out. If you go back to the 80s, even the late 80s.
3-point line, mind you, I have to add this, was put in the league with 82?
No, 79-80 season.
Okay.
79-80 season. The year Magic and Bird came into the league, that was the first year that 3-pointers was in the league.
All right.
And even then, it was like a fluke shot.
It was a gimmick.
It wouldn't even take it. It was a gimmick. That's the word I was looking for. And it's like coaches was mad when you shot a three. Now, so if you go to the old box scores, go to basketballreference.com, right?
Yes.
You go back to some of those old games, when you look at the total amount of threes that was taken, it's some games they didn't even shoot a three throughout the whole game. And other times you may see, oh, well, one guy, he took one, or this guy took two. Even Larry Bird.
Yes, thank you.
Two in a game, three on a good. Now, as it progressed into the 80s and they started to use it a little bit more, you may see Bird might have hit three in a game. You know what I'm saying? Or, something like that. Or something, an anomaly would take place where a guy may hit 4 or 5 or 6. I think for years before Kenny Smith broke the record in 95, Kenny hit 7 in game 1 against Orlando in the finals. The record was held by Michael Cooper of the Lakers, who had hit 6 in like the late 8 in one game. They wouldn't shooting threes like that, bro. Now, the point to get to your point, what we're seeing today, that's all a product of just the whole analytics thing, right? And your boy, Daryl Morey, you know what I'm saying, who decided his thing was, okay, 3 is more than 2. Okay, we know that. The worst of us in math know that. So they felt like they put together this system that says, well, if you take 33s, if you make 10 of those, it's more efficient than if you make however many 2s. You know what I'm saying? That's however the numbers was lining up.
I believe it's called a Jedi mind trick.
Well, the numbers are the numbers.
Right.
They are the numbers, but we can attest from our knowledge of history and being in this city and the team we pull for, it don't always translate to winning, because we had the best three-point shooting, the most prolific three-point shooting team from in the James Harden days and under Daryl Morey of all time. Nobody was shooting more. Nobody was making more. Even the Warriors, who got the 2 best shooters that ever live on their team, the secret was they mixed it up. It wasn't just jack and 3. Clay had killer mid-range. Steph drive to the whole float game. It wasn't just launching up threes, bro.
Right.
Durant could hit threes, but Durant was deadly in the mid-range. So that was a trick. I'm yet to see a team use those metrics and win the whole thing. So all of the talk about the three-point shot, that's cool. I love three-point shot. Everybody shouldn't be shooting it. But I also believe that a lot of games was lost because teams fell in love with the 3. And we all remember the game the Rockets missed 27 straight threes in game 7 against Golden State. If you would have cut that number in half and then give us half of those of mid-range, we win that game easy. So, nah.
You reminded me of something when you talked about Kenny Smith in the finals and set that 7 3-point made record, or tied it, or forget.
Yeah, he broke it. Yeah.
You triggered another memory, and I think this kind of sums it up. Michael Jordan himself in the finals against Portland, right? The shrug game.
Right.
He was unconscious from behind the 3-point line. Everybody was going crazy. But fans now, they go back and look at that game to be like, so what?
No big deal.
That's the point. That was never Jordan's repertoire. That wasn't, but we saw a glimpse of it that night.
Yeah.
What if Jordan shot threes as Kobe did, at the rate Steph did? How many more points would he have scored a game? He would have scored 50, 60 a game? Who knows? But my personal opinion, I don't know about yours, I don't want to see Jordan shooting 3-pointers.
Yeah.
That's not how
the argument.
I learned the game from him, right? There was that swing fadeaway from the 15, 18-foot range, right?
And slashing and dunking.
Right.
See, the argument comes when people say, well, he wouldn't have been a great 3-point shooter had he played now. The problem with that argument is that great players adjust in order to do what's necessary for them to adapt to whatever the game dictates. So I remember when Magic Johnson wasn't a great shooter.
Yes.
By the time Magic Johnson was in his prime, he was almost automatic from the free throw line, and he was a serviceable, respectable three-point shooter in an era that didn't take a lot of threes. So they did what they had to do to get better. Jordan wasn't the greatest shooter coming into the league. So the shrug game that you mentioned, the reason why it was a shrug in the first place is because by the time he hit the fifth or the 6-1, because of the fact that the three-pointer was this rare thing, he was like, I can't explain it either, because we don't even, first of all, you're not even taking 6 total in a game.
Right.
That's to make 6. You see what I'm saying? So that is just a product of the
Jordan
era.
takes 6 in the whole series.
Right. So, but if you put Mike in today's game, the game dictates that you got to be a better shooter. So Mike may shoot 10 in the game if he played now. You know,
Right.
So a player like that, he's gonna get to 35 to 38%, which means that now he's hitting 3 to 4 or 5 threes a game, 5 on a good night when he's popping, when he's hot. But give him 3 a game. You know, now he would have been got to 40,000 points or been past Kareem.
Exactly.
Before LeBron. So you factor in all of the 3-pointers that LeBron hit because he's a product of the era. But LeBron was never a great 3-point shooter. He's still not. But being a product of the era, he's going to take more. So, you know, it's impressive the numbers that he got. Of course, nobody thought he passed Kareem. But what's more impressive is that Kareem held that record for 40 years without shooting threes.
Yeah.
So now Mike was going to adapt. I don't care how many more threes will Reggie Miller have?
Right.
See, Reggie Miller had the all-time record before it was even all right. He came in the league when it wasn't all right to shoot all those threes. How many more threes will Reggie have? It may have took Steph 3 or 4 more extra years to catch him than what it ended up taking. You know, so now I mean that's you know, and like I said about JJ Reddick, dude, you calling guys plumbers and firemen. Don't act like you was Larry Bird either.
Mm-mm.
You know, you one of the plumbers in the current era. You know, he was a current plumber. You know, so JJ Reddick wouldn't even lasted if he played back in the 90s. He wouldn't last. He might be Kerr. You know what I'm saying? He's not a better player. I'm gonna name a guy who was way better player than JJ Reddick. A guy that me and you both probably hate because he played for that team that I know you hate. He wasn't a better player than Jeff Hornacek.
Right. No way.
Think of the game, Jeff Hornacek was crafty.
Oh, yeah.
Off the dribble. You know, he was deceptively strong and quick. Jeff Hornacek was an all-star before. JJ Reddick ain't never sniffed the all-star game before. So when you get to trying to criticize guys who are Hall of Famers, dude, you talking about Hall of Famers and calling them plumbers, man. Come on, bro. You can't be a plumber and calling guys who are 10 times better than you plumbers.
Right. And I don't know how I guess JJ Reddick is who brought all this up, but
Yeah.
I feel JJ Reddick really lived off a lot of his fame from Duke. And I mean, he was okay in the NBA, but he never really translated to being that green light guy.
Nah.
You know, in the NBA, just to become a good role player.
Nah.
Which reminds me of something to share with you. Have you seen? Let me get this right here. This little meme, right? This is pretty good here. So I saw this meme. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Austin Rivers said, I could take 30 players in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You can't take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA. And JJ Watt said, you don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. Thoughts?
Well, JJ got a point. But I kind of know where Austin Rivers. How did this even come about? How did the argument come about?
I'm not sure
Did
how.
Austin Rivers make that comment and then JJ just chimed in, or did they have like a personal thing going against each other?
I guess Austin chimed in on some show. I guess I'm assuming.
JJ just came to the defense of the NFL. Let me say this: there are a lot of NFL players who I've seen play basketball, and that you look at them and say, had they applied themselves to play basketball, they could have made it, you know. And from a physicality standpoint, it may be some NBA players that could play in the league in the NFL, but I don't know about taking them hits, man. See, I'm not talking about body type, bro. Because everybody talks about LeBron. And yeah, LeBron could have been a tight end. He could have made it, and he could have been, and who knows? But man, you have to acclimate yourself for any sport. But to play football, bro, you got to acclimate. Now, Iverson always said his first love was football. And that's what he thought he was going to make it in. He thought he was going to be a quarterback. And I feel like he could have. So,
I can't help but laugh just who it is, Doc Rivers, boy, Austin. It's like, yeah, I remember Austin that year you were battling Ron Artest for Defensive Player of the Year, and you led the league in rebounding and all the technical fouls and how hard dude, you again, we're beating the dead horse. You shot 23 feet 9 feet away from the basket most of your career. Probably half his shots were 3-point jacks.
Yeah.
Again, he's in part of this problem too. So how does people talk about being physical?
He's another one of those Duke guys that didn't pan out, and I don't have nothing against Austin. It's a tough argument to make because we don't know. First of all, it's 53 spots. It's 53 roster spots on the NFL team.
Right.
The way you can do that math is like this. You got 53 spots on the NFL team. He said there's not 30 players in the NFL that can play in the NBA. Just say out of those 53 spots, there might be 5 that really could have made it in basketball, right? Had they applied themselves. If you multiply that 5 times 32, that's 160, right? Guys that could have potentially made it. And even if you chop that in half, I'm going to give the NFL more than 30 guys that could have made it. The problem with the argument is that once an athlete commits their mind to what sport they're going to really focus on, now you start to mold your skills and your body towards that sport. So if I'm 16, I'm playing both, okay, I'm kind of in between. But once it's understood, well, now basketball gonna be your calling card, bro. Now I'm gonna transform myself into a basketball player. And the same thing, the football guy's gonna transform himself to a football player. And then years later, now you can say he couldn't have played in the league. Well, then he don't play basketball no more, or he don't play football no more. Yeah, you get unused to taking those hits. I played football growing up, bro. After a few years, your body gets unaccustomed to them hits.
Right.
You don't want them hits no more. When you're playing, you used to it. But I went years and years and years without playing football. I was a grown man, bro. And one day somebody asked us, this is like in the early 2000s, I'm in my 30s, I ain't touched a football in years. And a dude asked us to come out and play flag football, right? And then we got this flag football thing, and me and AC Chilled and a few other cats from man, we went and played flag. Bro, I couldn't hardly walk for 2 days, bro. Everything was hurting because I hadn't used those football muscles in years.
Right.
I wasn't used to using them. So I wouldn't say that 30 couldn't play. I just know that your body is gonna transform into what you transform. A tennis player is gonna turn into that. A boxer is gonna turn into that. That's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you a player that comes right to mind the more you talk. That's Charlie Ward. Man who won the Heisman and could take a hit, was a great quarterback. Might have been questionably a little short, I think Charlie's 6'1". He might have
6'1".
been 6'3", but
Yeah.
still, he changed directions, right? He became a solid, I'm
Right.
saying one of the greatest point guards of all time, but in New York Knicks history, I
He made a
believe he
living.
even went to the finals
He made he
against the
made
Spurs.
he made a living. But see, the difference with Charlie Ward is that he never 100% shifted his focus to one side. He still did both. Remember, Charlie Ward played for Florida State, played football for Florida State, but in the basketball season, he would come and play basketball too.
Right.
So he stayed centered. He stayed in the middle. He didn't just give up on one or the other. And it's a good thing that he didn't. That's a great name to bring up. It's a good thing he didn't because he was like, okay, you know what? But also to talk about how ridiculous it was that Charlie Ward didn't even get picked up by NFL team. So you say he won
Right.
right? See, look, that would be unheard of today. And people try to talk about his size and all that. Well, y'all didn't have no problem with the size when Doug Flutie came along.
Right.
You know what I'm
Russell
saying?
Wilson.
Doug Flutie wasn't even sick, but this was pre Charlie Ward. Flutie was around before Charlie Ward. You know, then you got the Drew Breeses and all of them that came later. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Bo Jackson and Dion. You know, they stayed centered. They kept themselves in both shapes. You know, most guys kind of abandon one after a while, and then they transform into what they're gonna be. But yeah, man, I mean, Charlie Ward is a great name, but luckily he for him he didn't put his eggs in one basket.
Right.
Yeah. And he could have went to the Arena League and all, but Charlie like, man, forget that. It's great.
Man, he made a hell of a career
Yeah.
as a great. I keep wanting to say great point guard.
He was solid.
He was a
He was
very
solid.
good point guard. It wasn't
Yeah.
like he was riding the
He,
bench. He started for the Knicks. If I'm not
he
mistaken.
started for a period, the majority of his years he was a backup, but he was solid. Charlie Ward got, I want to say, at least 10 years in the league.
Right, man, long time.
So you got to understand, in Florida State, he was Sam Cassell's backup.
That's it.
Or they played a little bit. They played like they had
That's
Sam
it.
Cassell, Charlie Ward, and they had Bob Sura. They had a nice
Oh
little
yeah.
that little 3-guard rotation was nice at Florida State. You know what I'm saying? So when he came into the league, it wasn't a surprise that he could play basketball. But you know, I think people knew that he wasn't going to be, you know, a star player like that.
Right. Well, another topic I brought up earlier to you during today off camera, and this is about the Gilbert Arenas comments. It's a little dated, but about Akeem charging, is it 50,000 to have like a camp with him or whatever. And again, maybe you know more about this than I do. Does some of that money go, you know, to his you know, mosque, or, you know, probably, we all know Dream Devere philanthropist. That's why I asked. He's very kind and a lot of community efforts. And that's why I probably asked that. Is that money really go to him, or does it go to some charity in his name? Again, do you know any more or shed some light on this and your thoughts of what Gilbert Arenas said about it?
I don't know what Akeem does with whatever money or whatever he charged those guys. I don't know. I don't know if he gives it away or if he puts it in his pocket. But whatever he does with it, with whoever he was charging, that's on him. He can do whatever he want to do. Because
Right.
if he put a price out there for his services, and you have NBA players who make in these days and times 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 million dollars a year, $50,000 is a write-off to them. You know, it's a drop in the bucket, and those guys are looking to spend their money on something. So my thing to Gilbert Arenas would be, okay, would you rather this guy invest $50,000 into making themselves better as a basketball player, working with one of the greatest to ever do it, or compared to a guy that'll go to the strip club and throw away $50,000, or buy a piece of jewelry that depreciates the second you buy it, and that's not worth it. So, I mean, you can't tell people how to spend their money. And me, being a fan of Akeem Olajuwon that I am, if I was in the league, I'd give him 50 racks just to work with him, just to be around him.
Right.
Hey, I work. That would be me. I might not even feel like I need to work. I'm like, man, I just want to go hang out with Dream. That would be my thing. But I think that part of what Gilbert Arenas, I think he was just trolling. I think he was trolling, man.
Right, which he's known for.
Yeah, but even in the midst, because I did a video on it on my regular YouTube channel a while back when it first popped off. But even in the middle of trolling, you got to be careful, because even though we know Olajuwon don't need the money, he don't need the money. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But it's never a good thing to play around with other people's pockets. Whatever is generating revenue for a man or woman, don't come in saying stuff that may affect that person's money. Don't play with people's money like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing you got to factor in, number one, he didn't charge Giannis, because that story broke because Giannis came down to work with Dream, and Giannis was like, man, I'm a fan of Akeem. I just wanted to work with him and be around him. But the story came out later. He worked with Giannis for free. So Gilbert Arenas' whole post was BS because he didn't even charge Giannis. But you go back to what started this whole thing in the first place, it was Kobe. See, Kobe was the first person to ever reach out to Akeem Olajuwon to come down and want to work with him and help him with his footwork and moves and all that. And I guess when Kobe did it, Dream was kind of like, okay, well, I'm willing to do this for anybody. And next thing you know, you look up and LeBron's down here doing it. Dwight Howard was doing it. And you see all these different Carmelo, and he worked with guards. So that's why I didn't look. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Don't make your argument look crazy, because you talking about a big man, a guy playing a five, and guards are reaching out to him to learn the footwork and to learn the moves. Dude, you gotta appreciate the greatness, dude. You gotta appreciate the great. Don't hate on that. Don't hate on that. It's footwork that the 6'4", 6'5" dudes can't do when they trying to learn. Nah, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I can imagine, like you saw, just being around Dream, but actually learning from him that footwork and the balance and the counter moves and
he even said when he worked with Dwight Howard, he said it wasn't so much more about the actual moves. It was more about trying to instill the mindset of dominance. That's what you also get. Okay, you learning the techniques, but you also need that player in your ear to make you understand how to approach the game. As a great player, as a big man, like this is your mindset should be to come in. I'm dominating both ends of the court. So just being around here, the conversation that you're gonna get. They say the game is to be sold, not told. So just the conversation you're gonna get from Dream is worth that kind of money if you got it like that. So I, like I said, I felt like Gilbert Arenas was trolled. He knows Akeem is a great player. I don't think he was feeling like that. But certain people you don't go after. Certain people you leave their name out your mouth in that way. That's just my opinion.
okay. I think the Zoom here is taking on us again.
Oh yeah, we got it in.
Before I forget, we are going to get some postcards done, some business cards done for the show. So I cannot help but shout out Nice Graphics. Me and you both know him for a long time, man, and what great work they do. And hopefully we'll get some marketing material. We'll get the Painting the Town Red with Legends 34 Sports Podcast.
No diggity.
Postcards and whatnot.
Yeah, shout out to McNice, man. Shout out to McNice, our brother from long time, doing great work. Got the city on lock with the printing and the graphics, man.
Well, shout out to Big Time, Mr. Big Time, Russell Washington, who's no longer with us. He has passed away. But he would have been ecstatic about this show, if not probably a part of it, knowing Russ, and he would have been ecstatic about this year's Texans. So rest in power, Russ. And anything you got to close out with, Kay?
Nah, man, I think we covered it, man. We hit it on the nail, man. We got a lot in, and just everybody who catches this, if you're a sports fan, just spread the word, share these videos, share the shorts and the short clips that we put together, because again, this program is Houston centric, but we talk about everything. We cover the whole world of sports, but we're gonna always rep that H-Town and get that H-Town love, man. So, y'all share the video, subscribe to the channel, and have your notifications on. So when we do a video, y'all will get notified and you can just jump right on.
And somebody drop a comment. We never get no comments on here. Nobody has any suggestions on topics we should discuss, or
if y'all
but definitely share this.
Whatever.
As Willie says, smash up the likes, tackle up them likes. How you know about that?
No question about it, man. No question about it, man.
This is going to be a Legends 34 Sports podcast. Subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Peace and hair grease.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
This is the Legends 34 Sports Podcast with your hosts, k-rino and DJ Reddick.